Yo, what's going on guys, it's Kryptic TNG, and as you can see it's round 4 of the AOR GT3 Elite Championship from Snetterton300, and yeah, it's a race that I wouldn't say I was looking forward to. It's not really one of my favourite tracks, but I've done it so many times in the past. And yeah, what I will say is I did actually forget to upload my qualifying lap, so I actually saved the screenshot of my final qualifying run. I managed to get pole position, but yeah, yeah, as you can see the video is quite a bit shorter. I didn't put in as much practice probably as I should have for this race, but I was still quite confident with the amount of times that I'd done this track before. And yeah, in the end it ended up biting me right in the behind, so yeah, not going to offer up too much excuses, but there was something afterwards when I did watch the race back that I did notice. But I mean, yeah, it was just a nightmare. If you think Laguna Seca was bad, then you have to watch this. And I was feeling confident about my speed before the race. The only thing I was slightly feeling a bit peeved by was that I kept running into invisible walls. This was about 20 minutes before the race start. I was in my own lobby, and yeah, car just flipped over in the last sector. And season 4 had the same thing in AOR, so I was hoping that I wouldn't get it again. But let's get to the race start. And yeah, this is me on the formation lap, just lining up with my teammate. Managed to squeeze in 1-2. He got like a last minute second position. He was struggling for some reason, but yeah, as we go now to the start of the race, and I thought, yeah, I've got my teammate behind me, and this time there's no CJB in the Bentley to harass us in the first few laps. And yeah, I mean, I'd made a couple of little changes before the start of the race, and sometimes when you haven't practiced and you haven't got everything nailed down perfectly how you wanted to, there was a couple of things that I probably shouldn't have changed before the race, but you know, sometimes you just gotta go with it. But yeah, at the start of the race I wasn't feeling too bad, but I did notice, I was noticing after you see that the first sort of few laps that my pace was definitely a little bit off. When I practiced, I was doing sort of low 43s within the first few laps on like a 43.3 or whatever, and you would just be able to see I couldn't get anywhere near it. And because of the speed, the car that was worrying me at the time was actually the Corvette. I know the Corvette's really good in its tyres, so at the start of the race I didn't want to take too much out of the tyres just in case they were planning a no stop. And because this race is going to be going into the evening, it's actually more like the tyres are going to drop away, and once your tyres start wearing, it starts getting cooler, your tyres wear even quicker. So I was a little bit wary of, you know, of someone doing a no stopper and us having to pit stop, so I didn't want to take too much out of the tyres. We can see our teammates all over us at this minute in time, and we were running 2 totally different setups, but I was thinking, how is he managing to keep up with me on the straights? So I went for low aero, he went for high aero, and we were pretty close on pace, but on the straights I just literally couldn't get away. So at that time I was a little bit confused, and you'll see here how I was really close to dropping it. It might not look like it, I was very close to dropping it through that corner because I just gone in there, the line was all wrong, and yeah, it was just I wasn't as comfortable maybe as I should have been. And yeah, you can see now he's reeling me in on the straights, and I was thinking, how can he possibly be quicker than me? He's got a lot more. It wasn't just a little bit, he had a lot more aero than what I had on. So I was a little bit confused at the time, and I got to the first sector split and I was thinking, oh, I'm pretty slow in the first sector as well. And normally a good first sector for me around here with race fuel was like a 29.2, but I couldn't get anywhere near it. I could not get anywhere near it. And you'll see here, I actually did a 29.7 in the first sector, like half a second off, which I was just totally baffled. But you see now Manuel gets a run on Carl, and yeah, side by side of Audi, the Z4's got a load of downforce on. He pretty much had no chance. So now I pretty much had to prepare myself to battle one of the championship rivals who's not in our team. It's a little bit different when me and Carl are battling, because we tend to communicate with each other and just do the best thing for our races to try and get away at the beginning. But obviously when you've got someone else in between who's also going for the championship, it becomes a real battle. So yeah, I was thinking that maybe if the Audi gets behind me on race pace, I probably should pull away, because the Audi is not the kindest on its tyres, and this is pretty much, I would say, pretty much a Z4 track, especially with the first corner being so quick and stuff like that. But for some reason I just could not get away. My pace was slow, my laps were slow, and I had no idea why. I was just thinking, like, surely is it me? Am I just driving rubbish? But I felt like I was hitting all the apexes, and yeah, just the pace just wasn't there. And then on lap 5, dreaded curb. I cannot believe I did it again. I could not believe I did it again. Now that's 2 races in a row now where I've got it on the curb. Absolutely. That one I think was even worse than Laguna Seca, because I had no reason to actually be out there. But you know, I thought, no, I'm quite far behind. I've got a little bit of clear space. So I was thinking, I don't know how much damage I had, but I would see what my lap plans were like. If after a lap I could see I was well off the pace, then I'd pitch straight away, and then I would just try and run in clear air and try and make up as much time as I can in clear air, then hopefully just get somewhere near the top 3 again. But yeah, obviously it was going to be a hard race. But something that I didn't actually notice at the time, when I spun and hit the wall, I actually didn't have to push the clutch in, which is normally what you'd have to do if you're running with the automatic clutch off, which I thought my automatic clutch was off. So, you know, normally with automatic clutch, if it gets stuck on, it will make you quite a bit slower. But I didn't realise that until after the race. I didn't realise that when I crashed, I didn't actually push my automatic clutch in, the engine didn't stall, nothing like that. So now, in hindsight after the race, I was thinking maybe that was probably what was the problem with my pace. Because if you don't know, if you run with your automatic clutch on, I would advise you just turn that straight off, because you're going to gain so much time with having that switched off. And because I didn't actually do any real, race runs, I ran with heavy fuel in practice, but I didn't do more than probably 7-8 consecutive laps. So I didn't really know what the ultimate pace was on race pace. I just know that I could put in a fast time in the first couple of laps, and that was it. And here again, my plan was to kind of get clear air, but I come out the pits behind someone and then bang. Yeah. And even here you see my car drops down to 1 mile an hour, which I was actually stopped on the track and I didn't stall again. So it was quite apparent that somehow my automatic clutch switched itself back on, which will probably explain why I had just 0 race pace. I was so slow in the race. And no hard feelings to the guy in the Bentley, because I dropped it on the exact same curve, and so these things they can just happen. But as you can see so far, it's a nightmare. Last place, and yeah, last place, and I'm struggling for pace. At this time I didn't think at all about the automatic clutch situation, because I managed to get such a good qualifying lap. But again, I didn't actually practice a qualifying lap on real low fuel. I only practiced on the amount of fuel after my pit stop, and I managed to get like a 42.7, which was had about 12-13 laps worth of fuel. So it was confusing. I don't know, I couldn't tell you if my automatic clutch was off for quali, but it didn't feel like it because the car was handling pretty nice. But I'll have to go back on the game and see if I can get another time and see if it's a lot faster than the 42.4 I got for quali, because it didn't feel like I had it on in qualifying. But clearly in the race I wasn't having to push the clutch in. So yeah, you can see I pitted again because I had damage from when I hit the Bentley, and by this time I'm in last place, well behind everybody else. And yeah, in my head I'm thinking, can I even be asked to put together a comeback drive? I was just so done at this point. I could feel the rage quit was coming, and plus it didn't help that Real Madrid and Bayern Munich were playing in the Champions League, and I was thinking, this race has gone potty, I might as well go and watch the football. And yeah, I think if I would have had the pace I had in practice, I probably, I don't think I would have stayed. Actually, I was just that annoyed with myself, the fact that I dropped it on the curb again. But to be honest, I think manual would have ended up getting me because my pace was just nowhere near what I was doing before. And yeah, it's very annoying. I've had 3 pole positions out of 4 races and I've had 1 podium, so it's very annoying. But you can see even after we pitted, after we've got the damage fixed, I'm still lapping 6/10 off of my best, which I don't know, crazy. I reckon even if I put full fuel, like filled the car all the way up on a normal day, I'll probably be mid 43s. And there you can see Carl ended up actually getting disconnected. He ended up getting a blue screen error, which is what I got in season 4? No, season 3 when I raced around here in the M3. I got the exact same thing. I got the blue screen error message and it ruined my race, and obviously, yeah, I was just fuming. And then just to compound matters, right at the end, I just dropped it again. And at this point, it was like, nah, I'm done. I'm so done. So yeah, I just went straight back to the pits, retired from the race. And I would have actually I would have actually stayed to watch the race to get footage of the other guys, but it just seemed like everyone was so spread out that, you know, it was pretty pointless. It seemed to be quite a boring race, so I just thought, I can't be asked staying. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what you get when you don't practice as hard. I mean, I didn't put in half as much time as I did for Laguna Seca, which I'd probably say was my weakest track on the calendar, because before Laguna Seca I really didn't have any pace around that track, like at all. And for Snetterton, I'd done it so many times in the past, I didn't really think I needed to practice as much, but clearly I did. And yeah, it was just a nightmare. It was just a nightmare, but I can't blame anyone but myself. And that's pretty much championship over, I would say. I think the first half, the calendar for the first half of the season was kind of in the Z4's favour, I would say. But the second half definitely isn't. So yeah, I think we've lost out on our chance for the title. I mean, I think we can still battle for the constructors, but for the championship, yeah, I would say it's gone. So from now on, it's not really any real pressure on us at the minute to just turn up and just go as fast as you can, really. I mean, yeah, Snetterton300, very poor race from my perspective. And yeah, even if I did have the automatic clutch on or whatnot, there's no excuse for dropping it on that curb. I was literally driving off the circuit. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty crazy that I did that. But yeah, need to cut the mistakes out. It used to be the other way. I used to be pretty rubbish in qualifying. If you go back to my debut season in AOR, the GT3s, I tended to start every race at the back of the field just by having some sort of bug or just messing up qualifying. So I literally having to come from the back all the time. And yeah, never really used to make any mistakes. But for some reason this season, I don't know, I'm just making silly mistakes. I wouldn't really say my Laguna Seca was a silly mistake, because I mean, I'm just not that good at the track. Do you know what I mean? I can put a lap in, but I've never been really good at Laguna Seca. But Snetterton300, although I don't even like the track, I've done it so literally, I'd probably say since this game came out, I think I did it like once every 2 weeks. So yeah, so hopefully for the next round, which is Catalunya, which I think is going to be probably the closest race of the season. I've done Catalunya in a few different GT3 cars and the pace has always been pretty similar. So yeah, Catalunya is going to be a crazy race, which is the next one. Hopefully no mistakes, hopefully no dropping it on curbs and whatnot. And yeah, it should be a better race. I'm sorry I couldn't get the full 43 laps in, and I'm sorry about quitting, but it had to be done. It was just, yeah, it was pointless. It was pointless. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and I promise I'll get a better one for you next week. So yeah, Kryptic TMG, thanks for watching. Peace.